From a pelvis stability standpoint, we need a nice balance of adductor, glute, and core strength to hinge and have some nice pelvis stability and strength for a core and for happy hips. So when thinking about a hinge, I love a split stance hinge. And this will be a split stance hinge with adduction, or thinking about getting those inner thighs and adductors. Sometimes this will be more common on the left side for a need for a little bit more adductors. And what I want you to think about is those adductors almost help pull us into position. So if I'm going into a lunge, think of this adductors pulling me over to that side. In a kickstand hinge, it might be helpful to add this adduction, sometimes more on that left side. If you go to hinge and you notice that your right hip is kind of hiked up a little bit, sometimes it can be helpful to think about almost pulling yourself over to that left side, bringing this hip into a position of pelvic inlet internal rotation. So if I go to hinge, but I'm on my left side, but I notice my right side is up more, kind of more opening, kind of almost opening to that right, I want to think about pulling myself over the left side so I can add that adduction, giving a little resistance against the band, and I'm thinking about pulling my pelvis in and around into that kind of hinge position, and that gives me that spot to hinge from. So this would be your kickstand cable hinge, or just kickstand hinge with adduction, and why we might want to do that. You're going to feel this inner thigh working. It's almost like pulling the pelvis in and around so that we can sit into that hip and have a good spot to lengthen from. And this would be if you kind of feel like this right hip is up and turned out. Even if you are working this left side, we're going to pull ourselves over to the left.